have your name and title, please?
My name is Stafford Lynn, and I work for John Preston in Lisburn.
Stafford, just tell me a little bit about your background to being in the wheelchair. You had a spinal injury some time ago.
Yeah, 21 years ago, I had a spinal injury, and my life changed that day. And I think my whole family, everybody sort of has the same accident as you have at the time. And very quickly I got my head around the fact that, right, life's for living and let's get going. And got myself in and out of rehab very quickly and realised that I needed to get back to employment, and wasn't in a job. And there was a lot of pressure because everyone was working long hours. I wasn't able to do the hours. And I just fleetingly was having a conversation with a guy who'd been in touch with Usel, and he said, you should give them a ring. And I did, and it's the best phone call in the last 21 years that I've actually made.
What is Usel?
Usel, at that time I didn't know. That it was employment. It was employment support back then, and what it did was it made up my wages. So if I could work 50% of the week, they would make up 50% of the wages, which really took the pressure off me. And when you have financial pressure and a spinal injury and all that, that's a lot of stress, and family stress and stuff that it totally alleviated. So it introduced me to a totally different regime where I could take life that wee bit easier. If I needed any support, I just lifted the phone to the girls. Everything was just made really, really simple.
If you hadn't have had that support from Usel, life would have been very different.
Totally different. I genuinely don't think I would be in the same position that I'm in today, because at that time it was very hard to get my head around what all was happening. So it took that pressure away, and it just made life that wee bit more simple, and it meant that I could enjoy life as well as, there's work and there's other things outside of life, and it opened a whole lot of different possibilities for me.
You are quite an incredible person. Just listening to your story, your positivity is it's breathtaking, really. What's the secret?
I genuinely don't know. I've always had a sort of zest for life, so the spinal injury didn't curb that. I think it maybe encouraged me to do other things, because now I've done other things. I've travelled the world. I've played a lot of sport. I've represented Ireland playing wheelchair tennis, and still, into my sort of middle years, I'm still playing tennis and doing lots of active stuff, and have family and stuff like that. But I met a lot of people with disabilities, and I realise how important it is for people with disabilities to get out into the workplace. And that's the thing where I think Usel shines, because it really encourages that, and it makes employers see it is okay, because people with disabilities, they maybe don't have the confidence that some other people do, but once they get a wee bit of training and a wee bit of nurturing, they can be very hands-on and very encouraging to see people with disabilities getting out of the house and giving themselves a bit of purpose.
How difficult is it to go from being able-bodied, for want of a better expression, to then being classed as being disabled? How hard is that?
I don't really class myself as disabled. I just use a wheelchair as a method of getting about. I used to walk and I used to run. Now I just push a wheelchair and that's it. Things like that haven't changed. I don't like people making massive compensations for me. I don't try and create a fuss. I just try and mosey along. If I want someone to open a door, I'll ask them, excuse me, you couldn't give me a hand. I'm not too proud for that, because everybody does need a helping hand. But, it didn't really change me, and I wasn't born like this, so I've lived on both sides of the fence, so I know what it's like. Maybe some people who've been born into a wheelchair, they maybe have a slightly different outlook in life, but it's important to get all those people out, get them into the workplace, get them integrated, and get them socialising.
Stafford, thank you. You're an inspiration.